So there's other ways of controlling access to information. These aren't too difficult. We're pretty familiar with those. Like a kiosk system, with like in a public environment, you can go and interact with a system, maybe an ATM machine. You're actually reduced to the amount of operations you can carry out based on what's presented to you. And what's presented to you is an environment with only a few buttons. So like an ATM, that operating system can do a lot more than just allow for withdrawals or deposits or show your account. That operating system can do more, but there's an access control, a physical access control piece in place where you only can interact and carry out these operations based on the buttons that are presented to you. Another way to carry out access control is database views. And we are going to go into databases and look at these again, but right now we need to know that database views is a type of access control. What that means is it's a logical way of controlling who could see what within a database. So, I could have lower access than you. Let's say I access the database and I can only see 3 records. You access the exact same database and you can access 10 records. It's based on the database view, which is configured by the database administrator. So other ways of controlling access would be like a profile that we talked about, setting up what a user can and can't do. There's a lot of different ways that are used within the models that we talked about to control what subjects can do with objects. Now we need to make sure that our logs are protected. And earlier in this domain I talked about accountability, and it's becoming more and more important within industry and in the exam. The exam is covering accountability more. And that's because we've got regulations that are coming down that are forcing the big guys, senior management to be accountable, so they're going to make sure everybody else is accountable below them. Now, why do we have to protect these logs? They're just full of, just mundane information. Well, they're really not. I mean, there is a lot of information within logs, but there is some critical information about who access different objects. And the reason that we have to protect the logs is because that's one thing that most hackers will go in and try to modify. So let's say I've hacked into your system and I've done whatever. I've installed a backdoor and I've took some of your sensitive data. Now those activities are in the logs. They could be an application log or they could be an operating system log. Now I don't want anybody to know that I did it, so I'll go in and I'll scrub the log. That means I'll take out the entries that shows what I did. So that's why we have to protect logs. Within the system itself, we protect them by assigning the right permissions. Like, nobody should really have write permissions to logs. They can have read permission to logs. So within the application or within the operating system, they're usually protected through permissions. Now, when you store logs, when you store them outside of the computer, we usually protect their integrity through some type of a hashing algorithm, which we'll get more into hashing algorithms in cryptography. So there's, logs, we are getting